When a domino beetle goes head-to-head with a crimson-legged assassin bug, it's caustic chemicals versus a surgical spear. So often in a tropical paradise, where there's beauty, there's danger. Predators stalk these petals. With a glossy black carapace and white spots, it's not hard to guess how the domino beetle got its name. This mean fighter comes from a family of belligerent beetles.
They are good predators, and they'll do what it takes to get food, whether it's stealing food, pillaging food, or killing food.
The domino is the hyena of the bug world. An unfussy carnivorous scavenger, happy to chow down on any creature, living or dead. Its prey are mashed by mandibles that are more powerful than they seem.
Although his mandibles are relatively small, they're general purpose, and they pack a much stronger punch than they look like they do.
Should an attacker persist, then it's all-out chemical warfare. When threatened, the domino sprays a noxious secretion.
It's a combination of formic acid, which burns, and hydrocarbons that are really stinky, so he just smells really bad.
The domino beetle is also fast and fidgety, unable to stand still. But that sometimes lands him in trouble when he finds himself near a potential foe. The crimson-legged assassin bug is a mortal enemy. With its chunky red legs, ungainly body, and elephantine proboscis, this bug is, let's face it, no oil painting.
There are some researchers at Arizona State University who hold an annual event called the Ugly Bug Contest. One year, it was won by an assassin bug.
This mean guy likes to win ugly too. Massive forelegs, like baseball bats, club prey into submission. And that huge proboscis injects toxic saliva that kills almost instantly. And at all times, those bulbous compound eyes are on the lookout. Though the domino beetle doesn't know it, it's wandered into danger. What happens when the hyena clashes with the hitman?
Even though the assassin bug is the only dedicated predator in this chance meeting, the domino beetle still knows how to fight, and his mandibles are quite hardcore, so anything could happen.
Amid the rainforest flowers, a battle is about to begin. A carnivorous domino beetle, scavenging for food, wanders into danger. A ravenous crimson-legged assassin bug on the hunt has an appetite for fresh beetle. The domino beetle has crushing mandibles, tough armor, and a noxious chemical spray. The assassin bug has club-like legs and a harpoon proboscis that injects lethal toxins. Which combatant will survive? The hyperactive domino beetle has stumbled into trouble. Its movement has attracted the assassin. At the last moment, the domino sidesteps a deadly blow.
This domino beetle ought to avoid that assassin bug, but it's such a hyperactive animal, I don't think it's going to back off.
The domino returns. This time, the assassin makes the first move and gets a nasty surprise. A burning, stinking chemical cloud sends it reeling.
That's like being sprayed right in the face with a can of mace. It's gotta hurt. But it doesn't mean that he's given up on turning that beetle into lunch.
The beetles bought itself a little time. But the effects of the noxious spray soon wear off. The assassin bug launches a ferocious attack. This time, there'll be no chemical counterstrike. In the blink of an eye, the domino falls.
Once this beetle has been injected with the highly toxic saliva of the assassin bug, it doesn't have a chance to respond. It's all over for this beetle.
It hasn't been the easiest hit, but at last the victor can relax. The assassin's work is done, and the hyperactive domino has made its last move. When a sunburst raspy cricket comes up against a leaf-tailed mantis, it's youth versus experience. Speeding through the undergrowth, its body ablaze with all the colors of the sunset, the sunburst raspy cricket is not afraid to draw attention to itself. But the happy hues aren't matched by a sunny disposition. This robust bug has a mean streak a mile wide.
Attack is always his first choice, and he does it with reckless abandonment. Looking for food? Attack. Feeling threatened? Attack. In fact, his answer to everything is attack.
This bug is built to attack. Whip-like antennae, many times his own body length, are long-range prey finders. Muscular hind legs deliver powerhouse kicks. Front legs, lined with thorny spines, hold victims in a death grip. While terrifying serrated mandibles tear and dismember.
The huge head isn't full of brains, it's full of muscle. And they provide enough power for the mandibles to cut through even the toughest arthropod exoskeleton. He's the complete package, really. He can run and climb, jump and fly, bite, kick, and spike as well, and that's only when he's in a good mood.
During the day, the sunburst raspy cricket finds a suitable leaf and builds himself a hideout, held together with his own silk spit.
Believe it or not, raspy crickets can secrete silk from glands in their mouth. And what he's doing is using it to construct a little retreat that he can hide in during the day. When he squeezes into this snug little cocoon, he'll pull his antennae in and curl them up next to the body. And he'll just sit out the day contemplating his next big kill.
Nightfall is his cue to come out of hiding and embark on a killing spree.
His appetite is almost never ending. He won't stop until he's fully gorged himself, which transforms this hyperactive and agile creature into a bloated one returning home on half power.
This cricket finds his way back thanks to unusual navigation equipment. Simple eyes on his head serve as super-sensitive light receptors.
They're called ocelli, and they're effective at picking up faint light emissions, even from the stars above, It's thought that, along with the pheromone trails, this is what allows a raspy cricket to venture far distances afield and still find his way home.
The sunburst raspy cricket is an old pro at hunting. But there's a new kid on the block. A young leaf-tailed mantis, still wet behind the wings, munches on a moth.
Now, he's actually kind of immature, not very well developed. However, his hunting skills are just fine.
With his bright green coloring and leaf-shaped abdomen, this young buck is already a camouflage expert.
Mantises sit for hours in one place waiting for the perfect opportunity. But when that opportunity arises, they go for it fast.
Two false eyes on the inside of the forearms are a neat defensive trick.
When the mantid is feeling defensive, it'll open up its forearms and show these amazing eye spots. It startles potential predators so that they think they might be facing a much larger foe.
But it's the hardened spines that are truly terrifying. Those long raptorial forelegs snatch prey, pinning it down, while razor-sharp mouthparts tear it to pieces. A wandering brown cricket gets no warning. But it's the cricket's lucky day. The brash young mantid has missed his mark and has to settle for a drumstick.
It looks like this young guy has quite a bit of work to hone his hunting skills. But if he survives, he'll have plenty of time to hone that accuracy.
In fact, he'll get another chance very soon. As dawn approaches, a sunburst raspy cricket returns home full and satisfied after an evening hunt. But a young leaf-tailed mantis is ready and waiting. These bug war combatants share similar weaponry. Both grab their prey in a spiky embrace, then rip it apart with razor-sharp mandibles. Which one will live to greet the dawn? The leaf-tailed mantis's keen eyes are already locked on the approaching cricket. He watches intently, not moving a muscle. One potential victim has escaped tonight. This time, he can't afford to miss.
If the mantis gets a clean first strike, then the raspy cricket is doomed. However, if it misses, like it did that first time, it could be the one getting eaten.
The cricket is sluggish. A full belly has robbed him of his usual speed and awareness. Even the cricket's extra-long antennae don't register danger until it's too late. In a blur of speed, the young mantid grabs. This time, it's a textbook strike.
Once an animal is locked into the forearms of a mantis, they face an impossible dilemma. If they don't struggle, it means certain death, and if they do struggle, it just prolongs the agony.
Clutching his victim, the mantid swings upside down. Its hardened mandibles go to work on the cricket's head. Even the tough serrated mouthparts are consumed.
That's the final reward for showing some attitude. You get your head bitten off, literally.
It's a harsh price to pay. The sunburst raspy cricket will never see the sun rise again. When a leafcutter ant soldier engages a speckled house spider, it's power versus patience. In the depths of an equatorial jungle, a million-strong colony of leafcutter ants is busy farming the rainforest. Each worker focused on the production of fungus.
Leafcutter ants are really the farmers of the animal world. They cut vegetation that they then grow fungus on. So the ants actually live off of the fungus, not the plants.
They might be peaceful, but you aggravate these agrarian ants at your peril. At the first sign of trouble, you find yourself face to face with a leafcutter soldier.
There's got to be constant guarding of the colony so that they don't get attacked, both foraging lines and the colony itself. You don't mess with a leafcutter ant soldier.
These hulking warrior ants dwarf the workers. Their bodies are protected by tough armor. The massive bulbous head supports some of the ant world's most fearsome weapons. Strong, hardened mandibles, powerful enough to pierce human skin, crush and slice.
Look at those mandibles. They really act like chainsaws. If you want a leaf cut up, you call a worker. If you want another animal cut up, you call the soldier.
A party of invading trapjaw ants has ventured too far into leafcutter territory. Workers alert the troops.
Leafcutter ants make a surprising diversity of sounds and vibrations that they use to communicate among themselves by rubbing various body parts together.
Dispatched to deal with the interlopers, the leafcutter soldier launches a withering attack. Its enormous mandibles clamp down.
Although the soldier is wiggling its abdomen around, it doesn't have formic acid, it doesn't have a sting. However, its mandibles are so strong that it's literally able to take control of the situation.
Ordinarily, trapjaws are ferocious fighters, but against the soldiers, they don't stand a chance. One by one, intruders are systematically torn apart.
As you can see, cutting this trapjaw ant in half was no more trouble than the workers cutting leaves in half.
Trapjaw body parts litter the leaves. It's an awesome display of brute strength and single-minded savagery. But not every fighter in this neck of the woods relies on size and raw power. Small and delicate, the speckled house spider seems like an unlikely serial killer.
You might think that something called a house spider isn't up to the task of surviving in a forest full of dangerous creatures. But let me tell you, this spider is more than capable of surviving encounters that would send others home in tears.
This relative of the black widow and redback is built for a life on the web. Her long, spindly legs are agile enough to navigate her silken web like a tightrope walker. The speckled house spider is a sit-and-wait predator, happy just to hang at home and let her untidy web do all the work.
It might look like the result of lousy housekeeping, but that chaotic tangle of lines is actually a very effective way of catching prey. It's extremely strong and also laced with lots of globules of liquid silk, so that anything that ventures onto the web or even brushes a single trip line can quickly find itself entangled and in a fight for its life.
Before her next hunt begins, she decides to change for dinner. Slipping out of her skin into something more comfortable.
The spider's hardened outer skin is literally an external skeleton, and because it doesn't stretch while she grows, she may shed it 5 to 7 times throughout her life. This process is called ecdysiasm. In a lot of ways, it's almost like a rebirth. However, it leaves the spider in a temporarily vulnerable and defenseless position.
It will take a while for her new skin to harden. But the speckled house spider had better be ready. The leafcutter ant soldier, fresh from its victory over the trapjaw ant, is on its way. What happens when the mighty warrior and the silky assassin get caught in a web of intrigue?
Granted, she's probably not going to be in a hurry to get too close, but if he stumbles onto her web, he's going to be in for a rude shock.
A leafcutter ant soldier, alone on patrol, is just inches away from a speckled house spider's silken trap. One false step, and there will be war. The leafcutter ant soldier has size and strength, with powerful mandibles to cut and crush. The speckled house spider uses silk and venom to overcome the enemy. Which strategy will prevail? The leafcutter soldier suddenly finds itself in a sticky situation.
We already know that this soldier can cut an opponent in two. But when she's gotten caught in this web, she's really on shaky ground.
The speckled house spider doesn't move. With an intruder this large and dangerous, she's happy to play the waiting game. The ant tries to chew through its bonds, but succeeds only in becoming more entangled. Finally, choosing her moment, the spider descends and starts throwing thread.
Whatever she does, the house spider must avoid those jaws. Just one snip could open her up like a bursting water balloon.
Then, moving in cautiously, she delivers a toxic kiss, narrowly avoiding the ant's slashing jaws. But this battle isn't over. Prey this large will need more than one dose. Again and again, the spider dances with death, ducking the gnashing mandibles to inject more venom. She retreats and waits again. Killing time, while her potent chemical cocktail finishes off this soldier of misfortune. In a monster bug war, No matter how formidable your weapons, it pays to fight battles on your home turf.
You know, I think this is just a classic case of the bigger they are, the harder they fall. End of story.
When a vinegaroon and a striped-tailed centipede come to the surface, all hell will break loose. The rainforest is riddled with entrances to the underworld. From one dark gash, like some mythical monster, comes a striped-tailed centipede. Every night, it leaves its subterranean lair on a mission to murder. A hyperactive hunter plowing through the forest on 22 pairs of legs.
You'd think that they'd be getting tripped up all the time, but with each one longer than the previous, they never get tangled.
The centipede's speed and mobility are even more impressive when you realize it's almost blind. Its antennae act like all-seeing eyes. Beneath the antennae, on either side of the head, the main strike weapons, two modified legs have become venom claws that deliver a toxic shock. Perched high on a leaf, a grasshopper thinks it's out of harm's way. But the striped-tailed express is hot on its chemical trail and severs a hind leg.
Now that's poor defense. The grasshopper really should have jumped clear while it had a chance, because now when the centipede comes back, it's not going to have a leg to stand on.
The venom claws now serve as silverware, pulling soft flesh from the exoskeleton. Like a discerning diner ripping meat from a lobster tail. Nearby, another denizen of the dark emerges, hungry for blood. With its heavy armor and creeping crab-like walk, the vinegaroon is a primeval nightmare.
Vinegaroons are like B-grade movie idols. I mean, they're just really scary, monster-looking animals.
Massive pedipalps, ending in crude pincers, grab prey in a merciless embrace, then crush it against serrated armor plates. Like all arachnids, the vinegaroon has 8 legs, but only 6 are used for walking. The first 2 are sensors that the vinegaroon taps around like a blind person's cane. Its heavy armor is enough to deter most predators. If that doesn't work, the vinegaroon mounts a reeking rearguard action.
They've got a gland at the base of their tail that is capable of spraying what's essentially vinegar as much as 3 feet away. They're able to move their tail around, aim it toward the predator, and then spray this mix of acetic acid and caprylic acid. It breaks down an invertebrate's exoskeleton.
But will the vinegaroon's heavy weapons be enough to defeat the striped-tailed centipede when it attacks head-on? In the dead of night, the rainforest is haunted by underworld demons. A voracious striped-tailed centipede follows a trail to its next meal. Meanwhile, a vinegaroon waits for its dinner to arrive. The centipede attacks with spiny feet and razor-sharp venom claws. The vinegaroon wields giant club-like pedipalps, spiked pincers, and serrated plates. Who'll survive the battle of the night terrors? The centipede charges in like a hungry locomotive. grabs first. The centipede lashes its body around. Venom claws looking for a way in.
The centipede is tough, but this vinegaroon has it in a really, really tight grip in the pedipalps. It's almost like being caught in a nutcracker.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Even if the centipede manages to get away, he's going to have a terminal headache, and I don't think he's going to get very far.
The centipede's legs kick feebly as claw-like chelicerae tear into its neck, almost severing the head. Regurgitated digestive juices flood the wound, transforming solid flesh into centipede soup.
So it seems that the old adage of live by the sword, die by the sword is just as applicable to the bug world as anywhere else.
The vinegaroon savors its victory, ferrying its dead foe back to the underworld to feast in peace. When a red-rumped tarantula goes up against a giant cockroach, it's a battle of the megabugs. Deep in the Costa Rican jungle, something burrows through the leaf litter. A creature that sparks fear and loathing in equal measure. A menacing monster with hooded armor and a 4-inch body. This beast lives up to its title, the giant cockroach.
These cockroaches are the biggest cockroaches on Earth. They're opportunistic, carnivores, omnivores, whatever they can get to eat.
It's a camouflage expert, blending in perfectly with the leaf litter. Large compound eyes wrap around the antennae like alien sunglasses. But for this megabug, sight isn't as important as chemical detection. Kept scrupulously clean, thread-like antennae, almost twice as long as the giant's enormous body, probe the air for telltale smells and air currents. The huge body is defended by hardened wing cases. An armored collar, called a pronotum, shields the head and thorax. Powerful spine-covered limbs rake across opponents' bodies, tearing and ripping their flesh. Would-be predators must also contend with sharp mandibles that hack and slash.
Their mandibles are relatively small, but they're really strong, and they're designed to be able to take apart almost anything that they encounter. When they fight, they'll use their legs, and they can also rip the opponent's legs off, so they can be pretty dangerous.
But today, another bug world titan is on the prowl. A male red-rumped tarantula.
Tarantulas have been around for a very long time, way before the dinosaurs, and everything about them is supersized. Their legs, their bodies, their fangs, and their ability to turn other animals into yesterday's news.
This male's mean enough to play nasty, but against a roach on roids, smart enough to play safe.
That swipe wasn't a predatory act of aggression. It was a defensive swipe driven purely by fear. When tarantulas are threatened, they'll rear up in front of a foe, raising their front legs and flashing their fangs, but biting is usually the last line of defense.
Besides, this male tarantula isn't hunting for food. He's looking for love, but tarantula love is a one-sided affair.
The male red-rump tarantula is a monster, but the female, that's where the word extreme isn't extreme enough. She's 5 to 6 inches across, positively humongous, and she can live over 20 years.
When a female meets a male, she will either mate him or eat him. Unfortunately, he doesn't know which. For some males, that's just too risky. This big mama doesn't miss much. Her 8 small eyes, grouped close together, provide only poor vision. Instead, she hunts by vibration. Her massive body and legs are covered in long sensory hairs. Hair also forms a unique defense. Beneath the red rump's fiery abdominal hair, tiny barbed strands, called urticating hairs, can be flicked onto an approaching enemy.
They're like fiberglass, so you can imagine if they get into somewhere sensitive or in the eyes, the itching would drive a predator crazy.
This male is prepared to risk his life for a mate, even though she can be the date from hell.
Courting behavior in these spiders is a complex ritual with all sorts of palpable drumming, body vibrations, and leg tapping. You don't just walk up and say, "How you doing?"
The female has one goal, to have her eggs fertilized. Otherwise, the male is just one more piece of meat. Her huge fangs, like daggers, pierce his head.
The fangs are truly scary, up to 1/3 of an inch long in the females and quite wide. Because these are ancient spiders, they're more like ice picks than pinchers. What the tarantulas do is drive the fangs down with incredible force, which opens up massive wounds in the prey's body.
Now her juices start flowing. Digestive enzymes break down her would-be lover. His flesh dissolves. What the male had hoped would be dinner for 2 is now soup for 1. The giant cockroach has intimidated one male tarantula tonight. But what happens when a monstrous female weighs in?
This big female tarantula, she's much less likely to be threatened off just by the size of this cockroach. She's much more likely to take it on. But this is a good-sized cockroach. It could be a real battle, and it could take a really long time.
Nightfall in the rainforest. A giant cockroach lumbers through the leaf litter on a collision course with a female red-rump tarantula. The tarantula has massive fangs and paralyzing venom. The giant cockroach has sturdy armor and spiked legs that can wound. Which of these mega bugs will live to see the sunrise? The cockroach approaches, unafraid. The tarantula is poised to attack. Against any other bug, the battle would be over. But those ice-pick fangs haven't yet found soft flesh. They're hooked on the cockroach's armored collar. The spider's holding on like a rodeo rider on a bucking bronco.
These cockroaches just don't give in. It's putting up an epic struggle. Keeps trying to kick and kick. It's holding on to the ground. It's trying to move forward. Anything that it can do to get away from this tarantula.
The tarantula isn't built to fight a long, drawn-out battle.
Tarantulas have a very primitive form of lungs. While they're capable of great power over short bursts, prolonged struggles are not their forte.
There's another problem, an annoying ant swarm. The cockroach catches a break. But just as it gets off the mat, round 2 begins. A fang plunges through the cockroach's armor. Dozens of mites who made a home under the cockroach's wings start leaving the sinking ship.
This is really a web of life, and you see mites on almost everything. Mites are bloodsuckers.
Now the tarantula sucks the life out of its once mighty opponent. In the bug world, the bigger you are, the harder you fall.